Let's start with Free Ice, which is such a thrill to watch. How did this come about? Because it's a great idea and it's so well executed.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. The inspiration is the NHL's overtime session. I was at the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Devils rookie camps, and they finished with 3-on-3 tournaments. And I'm watching the crowd react to these unknown guys. And in Pittsburgh, I'm sitting there with Billy Guerin and Jimmy Rutherford and my dad and Craig Patrick. And I'm sort of picking at these guys and watching the crowd react and watching the hockey. And the adjectives left off the page. It was creativity, rapport, risk-taking, nifty mittens, guts, and it was just electric. And after going to probably 2 overtime sessions in the NHL, I was hooked. That was it. This was something that was special. It was the best part of hockey. That's our tagline, and that's where the genesis of our sport.
Doobie, do you think it's the best part of hockey, 3-on-3?
I was just saying, as a goalie, you got to change that to the worst part of hockey.
Yeah.
But, very interesting. Anybody that hasn't seen the highlights, go on YouTube and check it out. It's really,
So
really
cool.
My question is, you watch these guys playing, and they're phenomenal hockey players. Where do you find them? Where do you go search? How do you come up with these guys? Because the product is incredible.
Yeah, so it's a combination. We're roughly a third ex-NHL guys. They're somewhere between 31 and 35. Then you got a bunch of guys that play in the AHL, the ECHL, and then the rest of the guys are all across Europe. They're playing in the K, the Swedish League, the Finnish League. But between my dad, Craig Patrick, Steve Baker, who was on our team who played in the NHL, we searched and found about 300 guys that we thought fit the bill. We're looking for Ferraris and Maseratis zipping around out there with great hands and great wheels and great hockey IQ and creativity. And we built that list, cured it down to about 125, and then we brought about 75 to 80 to training camp in Vegas about a year ago. And they just dazzled, and we had something special. I mean, the game was faster than we thought. A couple guys threw up on the bench because the speed was so fast. That was a good sign. It's terrible, but it's a good sign.
Oh, I get it.
And we knew we had something special here. So we had the coaches draft from that pool. And so we're roughly a third ex-NHL, a third European guys, and a third North American guys. It's a great mix.
The guy sitting next to you is a whole legend, and I want to start by asking you how proud you are of this guy. The way he talks about this, the way he's built this, you got to be so proud.
There's no question about it. I mean, how he built it, and I remember when he came to our camp with the Penguins camp, and he put something together, and I just couldn't believe it. And to see the project, on the ice, it's just phenomenal. And the speed and the skill you get, and the competition, boys. Gets a little nasty sometimes.
Hockey players, you know it.
Yeah, because, the prize money, they're fighting for a number.
And you're 87 years young, and you're coaching this year. What's it like to be behind the bench for it?
Terrific. I feel like I'm 78 or 68, and you hear some of the comments on the bench by some of the players, the competition, it's been terrific. God bless it. I mean, God bless him for putting me there, because I totally enjoy it, and the players, the players are having a good time.
And he's still got it. He's still sharp. I can tell you, he is.
Oh, we've been around him. We see it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I listen. I sort of eavesdrop, and it is just like when he was on the bench from the Penguins. It is just as sharp. His voice is a little more gravelly, but the acumen is right on. It's impressive. I'm impressed.
Well, it's such a cool idea, because it's like when in the NHL All-Star game, when they brought in the 3-on-3 and they brought in the prize money. That really changed the game, right?
That's right.
Everyone's competitive, but all of a sudden there's a little bit of prize money on the line, a lot of prize money on the line, and that competitive nature ramps up. You could probably stick these guys on the ice 3-on-3. They'd probably run each other over anyway, because it's just how we're raised, and that competitiveness, but it's super cool to watch. Obviously, being a goalie, I'm looking at this crease that you got out there, and puck handling, and how's it work for the goaltenders, and do they love it? Are they sweating the whole time? Like, how's it work?
So they are sweating the whole time, partially from pressure, but partially because they're always on. So it is a track meet out there. We play 2 8-minute halves of running clock, and the idea is flow. So we have a period, a face-off to start the period for each one of those. But if a goal is scored, whistle's blown, and we go right away. If it's they're prone and the puck is underneath them, we have one whistle to freeze and one whistle to restart. We've got this larger crease out there, kind of like a 3-point arc. And if the whistle blows, the players on the other team have to be outside of that. But once that second whistle blows, they can enter and pursue. So the goalie's got to make a good choice quickly. But in continuous flow, you can do a lot of damage as a goalie. You can have that 100-foot outlet pass, Stubbs, and it is an unbelievable play to watch.
Definitely something I had in my bag. The 100-foot outlet pass was definitely something.
That's a strong.
Well, some of the
You would have
goalies
caught on
handle
quick.
that puck pretty good, and they can throw that long pass. And
Exactly.
Makes a big difference.
A lot of
Absolutely.
breakaways that way.
What about the skill set? Because you've been around this game for decades. We had your accomplishments up there, just a storied career. You've seen the game evolve and change. We were showing highlights of the lacrosse stuff that guys are doing now. You just marvel at it, right?
Oh, it's unbelievable. We have one guy in particular that
Swaggy P.
Swaggy Pete.
Swaggy Pete.
I don't know how he scores goals, but he's got a stick up in the air underneath him, and puck stays on it. He flips it up and it stays on his stick and throws it in the top corner. Just unbelievable skill, speed and skill.
And it makes you look like a really good coach when they're doing that stuff, right?
When they score, yeah.
Yes.
I told him to do that.
How did the rules come about? Like, one of the rules that we discussed before we started talking here is when the puck goes off the netting, it's live. You keep playing. As a fan, that's a great idea. What was the genesis of it?
Yeah, I credit Craig Patrick quite a bit. We've also got Dave Jackson, who you notice on the ESPN broadcast is the official sort of go-to. What happened on that call, Dave Jackson? So he's our head of officiating. Between myself, Dad, Steve Baker, Craig Patrick, we sat and thought about what makes for great hockey and what makes for great television. And then you had to sort of think through the finer points, and Dave's been incredible on that. But a lot of times it's Craig is our commissioner. He'll kind of have this final say on what makes the most interesting, best hockey that the players can have the best opportunity to shine. And so that's kind of the filter we put everything through. But it was a really smart process that we took about a month or so. But at the end of the day, you're making great TV and great hockey. So you took the foundation of the 3-on-3 and then said, what would be the most interesting thing that we could do in scenario X? And we kind of came up with each one bit by bit. So it was a nice process.
You mentioned TV and ticketing. This in-arena experience, pretty awesome, Doobie.
Yes, that's what I was just going to mention. So 2 for you here. How long did it take to catch on attendance-wise? And while we're on here, how do people get tickets and come watch this product?
Yeah, so look, it's only our second season, right? So we had 9 events last year. We're in our 4th event now, so we're 13, help me with my math, 13 events into it, thank you. And we're probably gonna have between 300 and 3,500 fans tonight in New Jersey. We expect at some point to be selling out lower bowls. We think our sweet spot is about a 6,000 to 7,000 seater. And the Prudential's, I think, 7,500, so we're about half that. But we think a 3,000 to 4,000 person audience, it's electric. We had almost 3,000 in Pittsburgh last year. It felt packed. I don't know what it was about that space, but when you get right around 3,000, it feels really, really good. Someday we'll be at 6,000, 7,000, 8,000. Maybe someday we pack the entire arena. That would be fantastic.
And you got some nice American League rinks and stuff too that are built smaller. And you start selling those out, and they're still very nice facilities.
That's right.
Start filling those things up. It'll be
Hershey's great.
electric.
We're playing in BU
Hershey's
this year, and a couple NHL buildings. Jersey this year, our championships, the Patrick Cup is in Philadelphia, and fans can go on to 3ice.com and pick up tickets anytime.